Greeting heroes. Today I want to talk a little bit about a recent encounter I ran with my parties in my Shattered Lands campaign. Welcome, this is Heroically Inclined, and I'm Bill. And like I said, today we're going to talk about an encounter I came up with and thoroughly enjoyed. So, my group is on an island currently that is run by articifers. So I felt what better than a bunch of clockwork creatures. What I did was search for something I felt would be a little bit more interesting than regular clockwork creatures. What I came up with, I wanted to use something fun and interesting that I hadn't used, and some other creatures just to fill out the combat. What I finally came up with was this right here. Getting used to that. So what I did is I envisioned a beholder, clockwork beholder. Figured that a zombie style would work really well for that. Pretty basic, simple, not too powerful for the party. I did have 5 level 6 characters that were supposed to show up for this encounter. So I filled it out with a bunch of like golem style zombie ogres, using the ogre zombies basically just to describe them as large, kind of robotic looking automatons of some sort. I had in mind, because the nature of my group, some people come, some people go. Not everyone who says they can come in can. Life issues happen. I get it. So I designed it in such a way in my head is that they'd start with a room with the beholder there and 4 statues around them. And then, if for some reason some of my party weren't there, I'd have a couple of those statues on the sides not work, malfunction. The backstory behind it, anyways, is that they'd be there for a long time. So I figured it was a great way to kind of take it and just drop them off. Fortunately, players always surprise you. I set it up so that there was a trigger. And in my head, the trigger was anything they tried to take from this tomb that they were guarding would trigger these creatures and start their attacks. My party had the idea to look for access panels in these statues. Since they used detect magic, they were able to tell that these creatures were indeed magical, which was great. I loved it. So they had an idea that these were some sort of automaton protectors. So they started dismantling the back of one of these, and I had it as soon as they took out that first power unit, the others would react and gain. I had them roll initiative, and several of them were able to go fast enough that they were able to get to the next statue and disable that. So now, kind of the setup that I wanted. 3 people in the party were there out of the 5 that I was expecting, so I figured I'd drop 2 of the golem creatures. Well, party already disabled 2. I didn't even have to make it seem like I was fudging things or messing with things at all. So we took the 1, and now the beholder started elevating, started targeting, randomly rolling on their chart for what happens, which ray gets used. The cool thing about the beholder zombie is you don't have the downsides of, like, for the party, you don't have the downsides of magic isn't going to work. You don't have that, like, drawback of their items aren't going to work if the eye's facing them. In the future, love to bring a real one out. But this one, I figured it's a clockwork. It doesn't quite have all the abilities, but it does have all the rays. Party did great. They continued to not try to fight the ogres, which is probably good for them. They're a huge chunk of hit points, 85 hit points apiece, and they're just kind of there to soak up some beating while the beholder does a lot of the work. They were able to dismantle the other 2, and then it was just them on this beholder. It was a very memorable fight. It was great. They had elevation because the beholder's up in the sky. They're jumping around, flinging themselves all over the place, grappling onto this creature and fighting, and just having a great battle. This beholder, it's fun with all the options you get. Just rolling, they do different things. It's not too crazy, but when you hit hard. There's a couple that I rolled 47 points of damage on things. Luckily for my party, they are in. I had two rogues there, so they had ability to, you know, to drop it to half damage for a single hit, and because now I'm just down to one monster, they're able to drop those to half, which is fine. I'm not looking to kill anyone, just looking to make them feel scared, have a good time, feel that there is a stake to it. They came up with great ideas in the battle, and they had, I believe they all had fun. They all said they had fun. I had a lot of fun running this. So this over here is how I set up my combat encounters. So I set up a page in my OneNote. I do encounter design. I have a title. This one I did Clockwork Protectors. We have the Beholder Zombie. I just take a picture and cut it out and put it into this program of each of the monster manual imports. I draw a little table down there to give me their hit points in the first column, and then I do the initiative in the second column, or vice versa. I kind of change it up. That way I know when they're acting. I pre-roll all that, and I just use the standard hit points on there. Then I roll damage, and I roll all that because I want to keep the damage part feeling, like a flow. I don't know, something about using the pre-canned. Now, if I were going to run a big combat, I think for sure, like, you use the average damage just to make it quick on your side, get back to the players, let them have their fun. But even then, what I would do is I would roll when it's coming up to the last person in the combat order. I'd roll for the beholder, see what's going to happen. Okay, it's going to be a inveneration ray. Jeez, can't speak. Then I'm going to roll the damage. And when the player comes up, I go, you, give me the save. Oh, you failed? Take this amount of damage. Oh, you passed? Take this amount of damage. Super easy to do. Made it flow really well. Had a great time. So, just wanted to highlight this. Something you might be able to use. Something similar to this. And enjoy running a combat. If you have an awesome way to set up your combat, if you have something you like better than what I did over here, I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to see about it. And tell me in the comments your most memorable combat experience, running or playing, and let's share. This is Bill from HeROLLically Inclined, and I'm trying to put the hero in your game. Thanks, guys.